Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode Post to Post. It's a little late coming down the pipe. That's because it's just me, Will, again this week due to some unforeseen circumstances and some things that had to be rescheduled and fell through. But I decided, better late than never, I'll bring you a quick little mini-sode for this week. Since this weekend is Double or Nothing weekend, I'm going to focus pretty much entirely on that. I'll throw a couple little things out AEW wise ahead of time, but for the most part, we're going to talk Double or Nothing because, let's face it, that card's pretty stacked and it's going to be a good time. I'm also excited to see what sort of things are going to pop up. There's some good surprises coming. I know it. It's a 3-year anniversary show. There has to be. But first, let's talk about AEW in general over the past couple weeks. I've enjoyed it, but with a lot of the matches, I've started to see a lot of weird, basic miscues and some off timing, some spots where it just seems like they either rushed it or they slowed down a bit too much, and it just kind of throws the flow off. It happened a lot during a couple of the women's tournament matches. It happened during the Joe and O'Reilly match, but that's the main flaw that I've been seeing as of late. Story-wise, booking-wise, everything's been good, but those few things have been a bit annoying, to say the least. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but it definitely gives people that like to hate on AEW for being a little too indie a definite foot in the door to harp on their shortcomings. And I see it from time to time, but lately it seems like it's been a bit more prevalent. And that's just something I've noticed, and I figured I'd bring it up. Now, like I said, this week, super quick mini episode, but we're going to go ahead and dive into Double or Nothing. I've broken down, the card as I see it via CBS Sports website. They usually do real well with their card breakdowns. I like the formatting of that page way more than the other ones, so I'm going to go with that. Alright, let's start with the buy-in. It's the internet darling Danhausen and everyone's favorite son of Taz, Hookhausen, going up against Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. We've already heard through Nese's own promos that he doesn't need Mark to wrestle. He's going to go at it by himself. So it looks like we're going to have a handicap match. This has me excited because you don't see handicap matches too often. And that way, if Nese does happen to lose, it's really not going to make him look weak because it's 2-on-1. And it'll just be a nice moment for Hookhausen to just show what they've got on both ends. Now, who's going to get the pin on Nese? I don't know. I think that both of them need a chance to shine and do some finishes. Hook's finish being a submission makes this a little tricky because Danhausen's finish, if he does his variation of the GTS, is a knockout blow type of finish. So there's not really a good way to do it that I can think of where both of them kind of get their final lick in, so to speak, unless Danhausen hits it and then Hook rolls into a red rum right after that, and they just call it as in him passing out, him being Nese. But all I can say about this one, it's going to be a ton of fun. Is it going to be the most amazing match in the world? Probably not, but it's going to be real fun and high energy just because of Tony Nese alone. Danhausen's antics will be there, but I'm sure they're going to be subdued, and finally, I think the public at large is going to get to see what Danhausen could do. Not just those of us who watched him in Ring of Honor or via his indie performances on YouTube, etc. It's going to be good stuff. And if he doesn't have the jar of teeth, I'm going to be mildly disappointed. He needs the jar of teeth. It's on his gear. He's got to do it. I want to see him put all those teeth in Tony Nese's mouth and then knee them back out. It'll be perfect. perfect. Next, going in order with what they have on CBS, we've got the finals of the women's branch of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Dr. Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. It's a homegrown AEW talent against a former WWE talent. That alone is going to make this a sticky situation. One, we've all heard rumors about Ruby not being super stoked with the way things have been going behind the scenes for her booking since she debuted last quarter of last year. I believe it was around All In. Or All Out, rather. But at the same time, if Britt Baker does not win, it's going to give the people who hate on AEW more fuel to add to their fire in saying that AEW can't book anyone except for ex-WWE talent as strong. And I disagree with that. They often do, but at the same time, a lot of those people also started off in the indies before they went to WWE, so they weren't homegrown WWE talent either. Now, Soho, I'm going to give her the edge on this one because I think she deserves the win. She hasn't gotten that push. I agree with that. Britt, she doesn't need it. I hope Toni Storm comes in and kind of causes a little ruckus. She takes care of the outer interference, and that gets Ruby the opening that she needs to roll up for the victory. That, I believe, will be the easiest and smoothest way to transition into that win. And I think Ruby will be a better choice as a steward for this tournament than Britt Baker would. Baker would turn it into something all about herself. Ruby would probably be a little more humble about winning. That's my thoughts. I'm going Ruby Soho. Let us know what you think. Sound off when you see the episode. Shoot us a message on Facebook. Shoot us an email. Whatever. I want to hear your opinions too. Next, we got Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay for the TBS title. I mean, let's put it this way. Anna Jay didn't do it the first time. She hasn't been doing too much beyond some probable dark appearances. She's not going to do it this time. Not on the big stage. She's not going to upend Jade's undefeated streak at Double or Nothing. She's going to get beat again. Is she going to get squashed? Probably not. She's going to make a good show of it, but she doesn't have her homie backing her up really anymore because, honestly, Ty's kind of done her heel turn. Jade's still pretty much a face. It's unlikely that they're going to do anything, and if they do, Ty running out there is probably going to cause more problems than be beneficial for Anna Jay. So I'm going Jade Cargill. It's the obvious choice. Next, let's talk about this. The Women's Championship match. You've got the powerhouse Thunder Rosa versus the ring savant Serena Deeb, the Professor. It's going to be a great match. Also, running back to 2020, 2021, this is the follow-up to Deeb versus Rosa, where Deeb got the NWA Women's Championship from Rosa. She's not doing it twice. Thunder Rosa is going to make an example of Serena Deeb this time. She is going to handedly whip her ass. Plain and fucking simple. Thunder Rosa is going over, and she's going over in a big way. And I think this is the match beyond the one she's had with Britt, even though they were a bit too gimmick heavy. This is a match that's going to help push her title reign into being a little more than what it has been. She needs to go off on a tear. She needs a bunch of strong opponents back to back to back to back to really cement it. I love what she's doing. She's being like a real fighting champion. She's doing what she needs to do, but I want her to get some more strong opponents and really, really defend that belt. But Rosa over Deeb, it's the follow-up. They'd be 1-1. That gives them a nice rubber match set up later on down the line. And if Rosa wins, it gives Dee more of that chip on her shoulder that she needs to push this character. Is she going to win a rubber match? No. No. Rosa's going to keep that belt. But this match for sure, it's Thunder Rosa. It's not going to be Serena Deeb, even though it's going to be a great match. There's going to be a lot of technical know-how going on. Rosa having her own MMA background, it's going to be pretty even. But I think the brute force of Thunder Rosa is what's going to power her through to victory. Next, you've got the Jericho Appreciation Society versus the Blackpool Combat Club with Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. That is going to be a fun little match. It really is. Anarchy in the Arena. How goofy is it going to be compared to the past ones? Stadium Stampedes 1 and 2? I don't know. But it's a Jericho gimmick match. It's probably going to be filmed today or tomorrow. I don't know. But I'm picking Blackpool Combat Club. I am. I do not see the Jericho Appreciation Society going over on this, because if they do, it's going to hurt Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz way too much. Blackpool Combat Club, they can take their L on this one if they were to lose. They're too strong right now. They're too over. It wouldn't hurt them. They're there to help elevate the other three back up into the spotlight. Those are my thoughts. Jericho and company, they don't need it. Are they over with me? Kinda. But they still annoy me more than entertain me. So, I'm taking the Blackpool Combat Club over those two. Now, could things go differently? It really depends on the gimmicks of the match. I mean, we're in Vegas. I'm not sure what they're going to do. If that arena attaches to one of the casino areas, I could see this spilling out into the casino itself and having some fun little things. Are there going to be backstage antics? Yes. Are there going to be moments where they run into Vegas performing stalwarts? Almost assuredly. This is going to be as goofy as the Dinner Debonair and the Hangover knockoff trip to Vegas they did a few years ago. It's going to be sports entertainment, as Jericho would call it. That's all it's going to be, but I think when the actual shit starts to hit the fan, it's going to be a hard-hitting affair and no nonsense. Next, a match that I just cannot seem to wrap my mind around who would benefit most from winning and whether it would really for lack of a better phrase, whether it would stymie the push of either one of these teams. It's the House of Black versus Death Triangle. They've had a nice little feud building up, and I love the fuck out of both of these teams. When Death Triangle first formed back in early 2020, before the world went to shit, I was fucking stoked. I was like, holy shit, this is a great fucking team. I mean, Pac, Penta, and Rey Fenix, I would never have thought to put all three of those together. But they looked mean. They looked like they worked fucking snug. I was all about it. Still am. Love it. They just have problems with injury and travel. That's the only thing that's kept them from just staying constantly in the view of the public. House of Black, ever since Malachi Black debuted, they've just been building and building and building. You add in his boy from the Indies, Brody King, who was part of, the Kings of the Black Throne, PWG. It's really, just gone off from there. Buddy Murphy, picking him up after he was let loose by WWE. Oh, that is quite the team. You've got agility, you've got strength, you've got just a monstrous behemoth who can just roll through anybody. That, and they look intimidating as hell. And their entrances are great. The only thing I would say is Brody King could probably get rid of the balaclava. It doesn't really fit with the other masks. But I'm for it. I like them both so much. Now, who do I want to win? It really depends. I mean, Death Triangle, if they won, it would just be great for them, because I think ever since Penta Oscuro was debuted, he's kind of had a rough go of it. Ray's fresh back from injury. That would be an easy way to kind of explain away, if they do lose, why it was. I mean, it would be bad to saddle it all on Ray, but I think that's a good way to kind of sort it out if the need should so arise. Now, House of Black, if they lose, I'm not sure how I would take it. They are super strong right now. I feel like a loss wouldn't hurt them too much, but at the same time, if you do have them lose, I feel like some of that mystique that Malachi Black and his cerebral promos and his ring entrances and the way they've been dealing with all of their matches would take a massive hit. I would like to see the two parties honestly join forces. I mean, will it happen? Probably not, because they've been going at each other real dirty for a while. But we shall see. I mean, all in all, I'm taking House of Black over Death Triangle just because I think a loss for House of Black would hurt them more. But I also feel like if House of Black does win, it's going to be from a fairly nefarious angle. Most likely, we're going to see some Black Mist, or we're going to see a run-in. Those are my thoughts. The run-in, who knows? But I'm for it. House of Black, taking that one to the bank. Alright, next. We've got the 6-man tag, the triple tag, whatever you want to call it. I always get some of those terminologies mixed up. I don't know why. It just is what it is. Jurassic Express versus Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Team Taz, represented by Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. They've been building this real well over the past few weeks on Dynamite and Rampage. These nice miscues where people are just throwing blame around. It's been great. It's been really nice. It hasn't been over the top. The storytelling's been quite subtle. And it comes off as a feud built off of honest mistakes that people just aren't catching on to. And that's good. It is. Now, Jurassic Express is a tag champion crew. I feel they've been lackluster. I like Jurassic Express a lot, but as tag champions, they just haven't done it for me. They've done a good job. I mean, their most impressive match was against Ray, Phoenix, and Penta, back when Ray dislocated his elbow off that accidental table spot with Luchasaurus. But beyond that, any other Jurassic Express match that I've seen, they don't stick to mind. They just haven't been impressive. And it feels more like they've slowly been trying to move Jungle Boy into singles competition with his mentor, Christian Cage. That's what it feels like. They're trying to move him over into singles, more into the singles. What will they do with Luchasaurus? I don't know. But as of right now, it feels like the company is more hot on Jungle Boy being the singles performer. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, since they put those two together, they've had this wonderful combination of the brains of Lee, and the street smart, smarmy style of Swerve Strickland. Team Taz, of course. It's Starks and Hobbs. They gel. We've seen it. But Lee and Strickland, they've been super hot lately. Hobbs and Starks, good solid pushes lately. But I'm thinking, just from what the vibe I get from watching these past few weeks of Dynamite and Rampage, I'm thinking we're going to see the title change hands, and if it does, for me, it's going to Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Now, I do not see this being the smoothest transition of a title. I see it happening due to some sort of strange miscommunication like everything else that's been going on. Something silly's going to happen, and they're going to be able to capitalize on it. Is it going to be some sort of accidental double cross during some in-match team-up between, say, the other two teams against Team Taz, just to make sure that they do not get those belts, and then something happens to where one of them rolls up the wrong person? Possibly. I would like to see it. Because this right here, if the titles change hands, and they don't change hands clean, you've got to build for more feuding. And I want to see it. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland with the tag belts, I think it could work really well. They're an interesting combo. Keith Lee's strange agility, and Swerve Strickland's skills as well. His athleticism is just top tier. So I'm thinking that those two will bring home the belts. Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky, I want them to get belts, but at the same time, I just don't think they have the same kind of push behind them right now that Swerve and Lee do. Could they? For sure. They would look fucking great with those tag belts. On top of Ricky's FTW title, God, his ego would be through the roof. But I'm going Swerve and Lee. Let us know what you think. Now, the match a lot of people have been excited about, the match of generations. We've got fellow North Carolinians, the Hardys, going up against the Young Bucks, the progenitors of modern tag team wrestling, against the current spearhead of the tag division in AEW, and one of the best tag teams of the past 10, 15 years. It's going to be the Bucks. It's almost like a passing of the torch match. The Bucks are going to do it. I have a feeling they're going to do it dirty, but they're going to out-Hardy the Hardys. But the Hardys are going to bring every trick in their book, and it is going to be a zoo full of spot monkeys. I mean, we're going to see Jeff, Matt, Nick's sicknesses, their sickness, come out like crazy. I mean, would I be stoked if they brought out Senor Benjamin, the Hardys did, just for fun? That'd be super, super sweet. I mean, is it going to happen? Probably not. But something just to put it over the top. I want to see it. I want to see it happen real, real bad. But I'm going Bucks over the Hardys, but it's going to be just bodies flying through the air, doing the most ridiculous stunts you can imagine. Following that, we've got the home stretch of the three biggest matches of the night, probably. We've got the finals, the men's leg of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole. I think a lot of people are going to take Adam Cole in this match. They will. It makes sense. I mean, it also makes sense from the standpoint that, one, Cole is very much a smaller wrestler that works in that same style that Owen did. When Owen did it, it was ahead of its time. Now it's just the way that smaller wrestlers work. He's also got a massive push behind him, and it would just set up the Undisputed Elite being that much more powerful. But on the other hand, you've got Samoa Joe. I think he's a better choice to win. I think it'd be a good idea to give him that trophy, even though he has the ROH television title right now. I still think whatever trophy, prize they get for being the Owen Hart Tournament champion, Joe would be more respectful of it than Cole. Cole, again, much like his paramour, the DMD, would use it more as a platform to elevate himself as opposed to what it's meant to, elevate the memory of Owen Hart through the performances of these athletes. Now, I'd be happy with either one winning. What I think would happen if Cole's going to win is, since Joe's so much bigger than him, it's not going to be a clean victory. It's going to be a dirty win. I mean, O'Reilly and Fish will probably assist. I mean, the Bucks probably won't, because they'll have just got, through putting themselves through hell. But we're going to see members of the Undisputed Elite do their thing. Now, could we see some members of Bullet Club show up to assist Adam Cole? We could, because we haven't seen much of those tie-ins since Cole introduced Jay White on TV earlier in the year. I think that is a high likelihood. There's even been, Twitter and Instagram posts by Chase Owens, making a joke, is there something big happening in Vegas this weekend? And him taking that picture at the airport below the boarding sign for Las Vegas. I think Bullet Club's going to be showing up. How and in what sort of force, I don't know. But with Forbidden Door coming up real soon, it's going to be awesome, whatever happens. But myself, I'm still going to take Joe on this, just because for my money, I think Joe's the better choice for the win. I'll be happy with either one, much like some of the other matches. I'll be happy with either one winning because I like them both. I like them both so much. They can work like hell. But I'm going to take Joe because, again, he just has the character to carry and elevate that just a bit more. Plus, after how much he was shit on in WWE due to having a few, a string of injuries that, beyond his control. You can't help that shit. But they just didn't do anything with him. They never let him get back to where he was. I think this is a good way to kind of pay him back a little bit. So I'm taking Joe. Am I going to be wrong? Who knows? But I'm taking Samoa Joe on this one. Next to last, we've got the match that has had years of build-up. A lot of people probably don't even remember when they first started planting the seeds of Wardlow being fed up with MJF. It was easily late, early 2020, possibly spring into summer during the quarantine and isolation era shows at Daly's Place. But we saw the beginnings of that. It has been 2 years coming for this. And in recent months, it's really come to a head. The cage match Wednesday night was damn near a proper cage match. The only fault was Shawn Spears going out of the cage to get a chair. That was fucking stupid. You didn't need it. I mean, it makes sense for Shawn's character. It makes sense that he could leave the cage because MJF was the special guest referee, but I just don't like it. We've talked about it before. Cage matches don't need extra gimmicks. They are the gimmick. Use the cage the way it's supposed to be used. I mean, once that happened, it was. I like the fact that they couldn't get to the floor to find shit, like what happened with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. That was mega stupid in hindsight, but it was good stuff either way. This being MJF and Wardlow's massive meeting after he was put through the trials of MJF, I'm ready to see it go down. I'm ready to see someone hand MJF a legitimate, true loss that he can't weasel an explanation out of. It is going to happen. Wardlow is going to win. Wardlow is going to have the pomp and circumstance of an official AEW contract. Most likely Tony Khan's going to come down and hand it to him. They'll sign it in the fucking ring. That is my guess on this, because it seems like the perfect cap off to this story. Because if he does lose, and he's, air quotes, put off TV and furloughed by MJF, it'll be a terrible idea. Story-wise, it'll kill Wardlow. But unless they do some sort of Mr. America angle, and that would be really stupid. But Wardlow's going over. If he doesn't, I'm sure people will riot in the streets. I know I will yell and just be majorly grumpy, send tons of text messages, gripe about it on our social media, etc. But I do believe our boy Wardlow, War Dog, is going to do it to it and powerbomb MJF into oblivion. It's like I could say more about that, but it's been built so well. There's not much more to say than to just enjoy the ride and watch Wardlow do his thing. I'm sure he's going to have to chase MJF around a lot. Finally, it brings us to what is definitely the main event, the AEW World Title match. Hangman Page, the champ, versus the challenger, CM Punk. Punk's not going to go over. If he does, it's going to really, really feed into those rumors that Punk is just politicking and trying to just put himself over more and more and more. I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like he's working an angle the way it should be. He's getting under his opponent's skin. He's getting things to play out the way he wants. But I also believe this is a setup for Page to have his heel turn, because a heel champ is a more fun champ. And Page has been leaning into that violent side quite a bit more lately. He's starting to get that chip on his shoulder like he did when he first lost all of his friends and started drinking all the time. It's good stuff. I'm seeing Page's heel turn. Punk's going to come out looking clean and pretty no matter what. It will not hurt his momentum to lose. Page has everything to lose and everything to gain in this match. Page will retain the title. There's no way he won't. There's going to be a ton of fun. Now, maybe, since Page's kind of association with the Dark Order and has almost heel turns going, maybe Page will be the first member of the former Bullet Club to return to the fold. Maybe Kenta will come and lay his GTS on Punk. And that could set up something for Forbidden Door at the Battle of GTSs. I would love to see that happen. I would love to see Page back in Bullet Club. Hangman being the classic Hangman. I want something cool to happen. And I think a heel turn and then a return to the club would be a great way to do it. From a booking standpoint, it also gives you a lot of ways to allow him to maybe even take that title overseas and work a little bit, show off some. It would give Bullet Club another belt, since they currently have the heavyweight tag titles. They have the U.S. title. It's only a matter of time before Jay White probably gets the IWGP title. I'm thinking that they're going to start making Bullet Club drip again. And, well, I'm fucking for it. So let's see how drippy they can be and if they can drip across multiple promotions. Let's do it. But Page over Punk, it's going to be a hard-hitting affair. It's not going to be bloody like the dog collar match with MJF, but if you're talking about full-on physicality and going the distance, they're going to do it. They're going to juice. There's no doubt about that at all. I'm excited to, one, see what Punk's attire is going to be, because you know he's going to do some sort of referential thing. Two, I'm ready to see what sort of surprises we've got coming out with this match. It's the one I'm honestly most looking forward to, because there's so many things that could happen. Now, from another standpoint, let's think about this. What sort of surprises could we see at Double or Nothing? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, could this be the moment where we finally get the long-rumored and long-wanted debut of Johnny Gargano? We could. But how are they going to work him in? How are they going to do it? Are they going to do it as a way for more NXT talent to gel together, i.e. him coming to Adam Cole's aid, or him possibly working the other way and coming to Samoa Joe's aid either during the match or just after? Who knows? I think this is a good way to get Johnny Gargano in there. Are we going to see another Casino Battle Royal? If we do, is that where our debut is going to be? Is that where Johnny Wrestling's going to show up? I don't know. I would hope he's going to show up on the main show and not the opener. But they could still debut somebody. If they do that, will we see Miro return? Could we see Miro run train through everyone in that Battle Royal? Fuck yes, do it. Because Miro's been gone too long. I think this leg injury that he had, he's been out for since at least November when he dropped the belt. And that's been a long time. A long time. It's been 6 months at least. I mean, could he still be nursing it? I don't know the severity of it all, but I feel like he should be back by now. And I want to see him back. Kenny, there's already pretty much rumors saying that Kenny's not going to be there, because he did some behind-the-scenes stuff at the recent Dynamite shows. He wasn't feeling well, so they're saying he's not going to be there. Could that be just a leak, throw us off the scent? Could Kenny Omega return to do some sort of business during the main show? Maybe. If I were to have my way, one, I want Paige and Bullet Club. Two, I want Kenny to come back. And I want to see what's going to happen since Adam Cole has stepped in to fill the Kenny Omega role. Is Kenny going to dip from the Elite? Is he going to go and do his own thing? Will he return and work a lot of the AEW New Japan crossover shows and be like their ambassador to Japan and New Japan wrestling as a whole? Will he return to Bullet Club? Will the Cleaner return in his full glory? Could be. But I'm thinking that if things go the way they are, Kenny probably would come back to the Undisputed Elite. But it's going to create some tension in the ranks, because Cole has been a leadership figure for a while now. Kenny was the former leadership figure. They're going to butt heads. Cole's going to feel resentful for it. He's going to think he's held the group together this entire time since Kenny's been gone. Kenny will be like, nah, I ran this place before you ever got here. Who's to tell? But I think that's a good starting off point. But things I want to see, more than anything, let's see Johnny Wrestling show up. Let's see Bullet Club show up. I think we'll have a run-in from the United Empire again, if they're going to do what they did just this past week on Dynamite and kind of wreck the festivities for the ROH belt. They could do the same thing for the AEW belts and cause a DQ for all teams involved so the titles don't change hands, and set up for a bigger, massive title match over the summer at Forbidden Door. We shall see. But either way, this weekend has a ton of potential for things that could go on. I mean, I wish I had other people to go into things more in depth with, but let's just say, hopefully next week we'll be back at full strength. We're either going to have one, a special guest next week, or two, if that scheduling doesn't work out next week, we hope to do another one of our watch-alongs. We're going to try and do a long-requested one. We've got it figured out. We just need to get everyone together to record it. But those are some plans we have coming down the pipe. If you know anything that you want us to cover, watch and do that. Over the summer, we plan to do plenty of watch-alongs because that's the easiest time for all of us to get together and do it. Because we're busy throughout the year, but a lot of our schedules open up more during the summer, and we can do some watch-alongs. We want to be more interactive. Shoot us some messages. Please hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Instagram, Twitter. Shoot us an email through our Gmail. Let us know what you think. Tell your friends. We need all the help we can get to get bigger, get more going on, and to give you a more entertaining show. I mean, just me holding on the fort, I've got some charisma, but I don't think I have enough to carry a show solo. That's why I like to have the whole crew so we can have conversation. But I'm trying not to miss any more weeks due to that, so I'm putting out these solo episodes at least. Anywho, that's a wrap. Tell us what you think. If you've got suggestions for what you think should happen in a Double or Nothing, let us know. Share it. We'll be happy to comment back and tell you if you're crazy, or tell you, hey, that's a great fucking plan. Either way, until next time, this has been an episode of Post to Post. Follow us on all the things. Big ups to our boy Falcon and the Polar for making us sound good. But until next week, take it easy. Bye.